cheapest town in America looks like a financial loophole until you actually live there. On paper, it seems simple. Housing prices that feel almost outdated, rent that looks like it belongs in a different decade, and property costs that rarely show up in national headlines. So the question feels obvious: why isn't everyone moving there? And that leads to something more important. What exactly are you buying into when the price drops that low? Because the cheapest towns in America are not just discounted versions of normal places. They follow a different set of rules. Let's break that down. Number 10. Cairo, Illinois. Cairo looks like an incredible deal at first glance, with historic homes, river views, and prices often reported as among the lowest in the region. You can find properties here for amounts that feel almost theoretical, especially compared to major metro areas. But then, reality starts to fill in the gaps. Cairo has experienced long-term population decline, and that decline affects everything around you, from services to infrastructure to daily convenience. Basic services can be inconsistent, retail options are limited, and healthcare often requires traveling outside the area, which changes how you plan even simple routines. And this is where expectations quietly shift, because saving money on housing does not remove the need for systems, it simply changes how far you have to go to access them. So yes, the house is cheap, but the system supporting that house is thinner than expected, and that becomes part of your life quickly. Number 9. Gary, Indiana. Gary sits close enough to Chicago to create a sense of opportunity, which makes it feel like a strategic move. But living there reveals a different story. Gary operates on a very different economic path, and many homes are inexpensive because they require significant ongoing effort. Ownership here often includes maintenance challenges, security considerations, and renovation work that extends beyond initial expectations. A low purchase price does not always mean a low overall cost, because the investment shifts into time and effort. And over time, that effort compounds, especially if surrounding properties are also under pressure, which means your investment is influenced by factors outside your control. Here is number 8, Flint, Michigan. Flint is frequently mentioned in discussions about affordability, and housing costs are consistently below national averages. But affordability here is tied to a deeper context. Flint has gone through a long period of economic contraction, along with a widely known infrastructure crisis. In recent years, many areas have improved, but that rebuilding process is still ongoing. Living here means you are part of a place in transition where progress exists alongside uneven recovery. And that creates a subtle tension, because improvements are visible, but consistency is still developing, which means your experience can depend heavily on timing and location. Number 7. Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Pine Bluff presents affordability that feels calm and manageable. Low housing costs and a smaller scale of living create an appealing surface. But the economic structure becomes more visible over time. Job opportunities are often narrower, and when a local economy depends on a limited number of employers, small changes can have noticeable effects. And this is where stability becomes more fragile, because fewer options mean less room to adjust when conditions shift. So while your cost of living may stay low, your flexibility can feel limited too. Number 6 is Clarksdale, Mississippi. Clarksdale offers something different. It has identity. Deep ties to blues history give it cultural weight, and that creates a strong sense of place. There are events and moments of real activity, but that activity is not constant. Tourism-based economies create peaks and gaps, where weekends feel alive and weekdays feel noticeably quieter. That uneven rhythm becomes part of daily life. And over time, that rhythm shapes expectations, because consistency is replaced by cycles, which changes how the town feels depending on when you experience it. Number 5. Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Johnstown feels like it should be doing better. It has infrastructure, history, and proximity to larger cities. Housing prices are often very accessible, but the underlying story is more complicated. Johnstown is shaped by legacy industry, and recovery does not always follow a simple path. Some areas adapt, others do not. Living here means stepping into a place that is still adjusting. And that adjustment creates uneven outcomes, where progress can be visible in one area while another remains tied to older patterns. Number 4 is Youngstown, Ohio. Youngstown is one of the most affordable housing markets in the country, and it is actively trying to change its trajectory. There are redevelopment efforts and community initiatives. That creates a sense of forward movement. But progress does not happen evenly. Some neighborhoods improve quickly, while others take longer. So affordability here comes with variability, and you have to choose carefully. Because in a city reshaping itself, location is not just important, it is everything. Here is number 3. Detroit, Michigan. Detroit is not one single story. Some parts have seen rapid development, while others still offer extremely low entry prices. That contrast creates a unique situation. You could be close to growth and still live in an area with minimal investment. Infrastructure consistency can vary, including service reliability and neighborhood stability. And this is where the decision becomes more complex, because you are not just evaluating a city, you are evaluating micro-locations within it. So buying cheap in Detroit often means making a long-term bet on a specific location. Number 2. McDowell County, West Virginia. This is where a common assumption starts to break. If housing is cheap enough, everything else should be manageable. McDowell County challenges that idea. Housing here is often extremely inexpensive, but the local economy has been in decline for a long time. Population loss has reshaped the region. When population drops, systems shrink, schools close, hospitals consolidate, and retail options become scarce. And once those systems shrink, they are difficult to rebuild, which means the effects are long-term rather than temporary. So even if your housing cost is minimal, your access to opportunity can also become limited. But now it's time for number 1, the pattern behind the cheapest towns. There is no single cheapest town in America. There are many, and they follow a similar pattern like low prices are signals. They reflect reduced demand, economic shifts, and population change. Those signals show up in daily life, in your options, your routines, and the effort required to maintain stability. In one town, a homeowner bought a house for less than a short vacation. At first, it felt like a clear win. But within a year, they realized they were not just maintaining a property, they were maintaining part of the neighborhood, because when enough properties lose value, responsibility spreads outward. That is the trade-off: lower cost, higher responsibility. Moving to the cheapest town in America gives you affordability, but it also means inheriting the reasons those prices exist. Those reasons shape your daily experience in ways that are not obvious at first. Geography is not about finding a perfect place. It is about understanding the trade-offs behind each one. If you prefer clear analysis over glossy marketing, this channel is built for you. And next, we will look at what happens when a town becomes too expensive to function.